Hello, vintage fans. Now, I've got a good one today. Well, I think it's going to be a good one anyway, because I've got what's in that box to unpack. And now that box weighs an absolute ton. There is an amplifier in there, but it's one of the heaviest amplifiers I have picked up in a long, long time. That box absolutely weighs a ton. It's so heavy, in fact, that the door went and it was the postman, and he went to me, "Can you come and get it off the van for me, because I can't pick that up?" He said, "My back's hurting a little bit today and I cannot lift that box, so do you mind coming out to the van and collecting it from the van?" So I had to go out to the postman's van and carry this in myself, because the postman did not want to lift it. I don't think he had nothing wrong with his back, I just don't think he wanted to lift it. And when I picked it up, I can see why. This box weighs an absolute ton. So it was lucky that I got home early from work today, because if I had not have been here, I don't think it would have got delivered today, because there is no way my missus could have carried this box in. So inside the box is an Optonica, a vintage receiver from about 1977. So it's an Optonica receiver, and I really did not think it was going to be as heavy as this. So it might be like quite a big beast of an amplifier or a receiver. I thought it was going to be like normal size, but it can't be, because it weighs an absolute ton. I did look a little bit up about it. It is 40 watts per channel, so it's not massively powerful, but it is a lot heavier than I thought it was going to be. I have had an Optonica before. I had one from the 80s, and that was only like quite small, but this thing feels like it's going to be a bit of a big heavy monster. I didn't realise that when I bought it, so this thing might be much better than what I actually thought it was going to be, because I've not had one of these before. And I'm looking at that there on the top. This thing is massive, that lid there. It does fill the whole box up. I thought it was going to have all like padding round it or something, but it hasn't. The receiver fills up the whole box. So this receiver is massive. Just look at the size of it there. So it has been bubble wrapped a bit, and by the look of it, it's had some polystyrene put down the front to protect the glass, which is good. So someone has taken a little bit of effort wrapping this up. It's not the best wrapped I've ever seen, but it's not bad. At least they have protected the glass and put some bubble wrap down the back there to protect the back. And I just can't get over how big this is. Because in the photos that I bought it just looked like it was going to be a normal size receiver. The person who sold this should have stood a Coke can or something beside it to show how big it was, because it just looked normal size. I did not realise it was going to be a monster, and this is a monster. Trust me, this thing is really wide, and it looks like it's quite deep as well. So this receiver's massive. And look at that plug there. That has not been plugged in for a long time. Look at the state of that plug. It's a nice plug on there, nice vintage MK one. So I shall clean all that plug up. That's a really good plug. But look at the state of it. That has not been plugged in for years. And that is exactly what the seller said about this receiver. They said it was working fine 15 or 20 years ago, and then they stopped using it and put it in a cupboard, and it has just been sitting in that cupboard for 15 or 20 years, and then they got it out the other day, plugged it in, and it doesn't do anything. No power, no nothing. It doesn't even turn on, so it is dead. and it hasn't been used for like 15 or maybe 20 years. And that is heavy. That is ridiculous heavy, this receiver. So I would say there is no parts missing out of that, because it's so heavy it must have all its parts in there. There cannot be nothing missing out of this one. In fact, it could have extra parts inside it, because it's so heavy it might have parts out of another amplifier in there as well. So in the weight department, this Optonica is definitely up there. I have not had many over the years that are heavier than this. And I would say width-wise, this is up there with some of the widest ones I've ever had. Just look how big it is. This thing is massive. It looks nice though. Look at that front, all them lovely dials and that. That is why I went after this. It did look all complete on the pictures. I'll show you in a minute when we go round the back. There was some photos of the back of it, and it is a bit corroded and all that, all the terminals. You can just see that this thing hasn't been used for a long time. So that's what it is. Look, it's an Optonica SA3131. And these Optonicas, they were made by Sharp. So these was like Sharp's way of making stuff to try and compete with the big boys. This was like high-end Sharp gear. So let's have a little feel at the front. Yeah, the tuner feels like it's working all right. That feels really stiff. They are really stiff. Them switches, you can just tell this thing hasn't been used for years. This needs proper taking apart and going right through this thing. And it is worth doing this one, because just look how nice it looks, and it does look like it's all complete. I know I haven't been inside it yet, but going by how heavy it is, it must have all its parts in there. Everything just feels really stiff on this, so it will need a good going through this one, a proper strip down and a proper going through. And I'm looking through the vent there on the top. Let me get the camera and show you in there. When you look through that vent on the top, this thing looks like it's got a coating of fur in there and dust and fluff and all sorts. Just look at the state of that inside. That hasn't had this lid off and been cleaned for years and years. Look at it. That is really dirty in there. But I have had them like this before. You can clean all that out. It doesn't mean there is anything wrong with it when it looks like that. I wouldn't try and run it. If you get one that looks like that inside, do not plug it in. Even if it works, do not plug it in and start playing music through it, because when it has got all that fur and fluff inside it, once it warms up, it could quite easily catch fire. So I'm going to get my tape measure and we'll measure how wide this is, because it's massive, this thing. Look, that is almost 22 inches across. So this Optonica is a monster, really. Alright, it's only 40 watts per channel, so it hasn't got the monster wattage, but it is a monster size, so it do not come much wider than that. Like this Pioneer's big-ish, really, for an amplifier or a receiver. This Pioneer is quite big, and look, the Pioneer's only 17. Was that Sharp was 22. So that Sharp is massive. I'm liking that Optonica. Look at it. That's going to clean up really nice. It looks nice now, but it is filthy. Once that's had a clean, that is going to come up really nice, that Optonica. So I'll turn it round and I'll show you the back of it here. Because the back, there was some photos of the back of it, and I zoomed right in on them and was looking at it. And you could see all the phono inputs and all that are very corroded. Not damaged. Dioxin will clean all them up. them ones I'd put a bit of oil on them because they are going rusty, so deoxin won't really clean them up. You better to put a bit of oil on them and soak them in a bit of oil, them radio bits, and that little bracket there, soak that in oil because that is all rusting. But like them connections there, the phono inputs and that, I shall deoxin will clean them up. And look, they're just little like block bits. They're not doing anything, they're just stopping dirt getting in the port. And as you can see there, look, it's got the connection so you can put 2 record decks into this. So you can plug 2 decks into this at the same time and be a bit of a DJ and flip from one deck to the other and try out your DJ skills. So if you was having a party back in the day, you did not have to turn the music off while you turned the record over. You could just flip to the other deck and keep everyone dancing. And they are very stiff and a bit rusty, them speaker terminals. I might have to take them out and give them a proper good going over. And as you see there, look, it's only got 1 fuse in the back. So it's got 1 fuse in it, this receiver. So if the person plugged it in like that, it wouldn't have worked anyway because it's only got 1 fuse in it. It's got a little bit of damage there to the back of the wooden cabinet, but that is the only bit of damage you can see on it, and that's right at the back, so that doesn't matter too much. And I would just put glue on that and like strengthen it back up a bit just to stop it getting any worse. And look, if you're looking through that vent there, look at the state of it in there. I bet when we take the lid off of this one, that is absolutely rotten in there. I think that's the transformer there. That transformer looks massive. So with this one, other than it looking filthy dirty, it does look like a nice big receiver, don't it? I'm liking this Optonica. It's just massive. It's just a massive, great big beast, and it has got a really good look to it. So I'm really looking forward to cleaning this Optonica up and going through it, because I love doing ones like this that have been neglected for years. It might not need no parts. It is all complete. It just needs some time put into it and stripping right down and cleaning right up, and hopefully that Optonica will come back looking lovely. And it was sort of why I bought this one, because it was all complete. Because maybe like this one, if it had all knobs and all bits missing off the front and all that, I might not have bought this one, because this one is probably quite hard to get parts for. Like I bought that Sansui with all the bits missing off the front, but it's a Sansui, you can get the bits from no problem. This Optonica might be harder to get parts for, so that's why, because this was complete, I went after it. If it wasn't complete, I probably would not have bought this Optonica. Now look, I've just put the little Rotel on the top of it. Now that Rotel is like a normal size little low wattage vintage amplifier, and look how tiny it looks compared to that Optonica. That's how big this thing is. It's massive. And a bit of the other reason why I went after this Optonica, well, I'm saying that I didn't really go after this Optonica. I did click it into my watch list, but I wasn't thinking, oh, I'm going to buy that. But when the days counted down, no one bid on it. And then when I see it on the day it was finishing and still no one had bid on it, I thought, right, I'm going to have a bid on that. And a bit of that was because I've never had one of these. Like I said, I've had a other Optonica. I had one from the 80s. I think it was from about 1981 or something like that. But it was much smaller one down the range, much lower level. And it did sound quite good. It was a nice amplifier. But this one's quite high up on the range, so this is a bit of a high-end one. So that's a bit why I went after it. It is a bit high-end, and I have never had one. I had a nice Optonica turntable once, and that was really good, that turntable. But I haven't had any of these range of Optonicas from the like 70s. So as this one was all complete and quite high end and at a really low price, that is why I went after this one. And also, I do know that a lot of people out there really rate this Optonica stuff. I do know people who've had them and said they are really good, but I have just never had one. And like I was saying earlier, these was like Sharp's model to compete with the big boys. When Sharp wanted to make more high-end hi-fi equipment and go against the big boys, they didn't think the Sharp name would cut it, so they named them Optonica and then released them as Sharp Optonica, like what Panasonic did with Technics. It's what Sharp done with these. But I do think these Optonicas was also sold under a company name called Lafitte or something like that. There's another name that gets stamped on some of these Optonicas. So you might find you could buy this exact same receiver, but it will be branded as a Lafitte receiver, not an Optonica. So let's go over and have a look at the little Sansui 310. Now that Sansui, that's the last one that I repaired on my other channel. So I've had that working for like a couple of weeks now, and I've been using that like every day really. As soon as I get home from work, I've been putting that Sansui straight on. So it's working lovely, that Sansui, and it has got a nice sound to it. So maybe this weekend I shall have a night in with the Sansui and do a couple of little videos like I have done on the other receivers, doing a little bit about what it sounds like and what I think of it. So if you look underneath it, that is a Pioneer SX434, and that is another really nice vintage receiver. So if you look at them two, both of these are quite biggish receivers. They're not massive monster receivers, but they have got a bit of size to them, both of them two, quite good size. And then look how big the Optonica is. It makes them two look tiny as well. It's massive, this Optonica. Like, when you get ones like this, there is no way you're getting that in a hi-fi rack or anything like that, is it? No way whatsoever. Even like that Pioneer and that Sansui, you'll struggle to fit them two in a normal hi-fi rack. So something like this Optonica, it has to live on a sideboard or a table or something, because it's just so big, there is no way you're getting it in any hi-fi rack. And I don't know where I'm going to put it yet. Just look at the size of it. Because I have got another hi-fi rack in my lounge that is bigger than the one in here, but it is glass. There is no way I can put that Optonica on that. It'd be too heavy for it. It'd break the glass. So I don't know where I'm going to put that Optonica. And if it sounds good, I do want to keep it. Look at it. I like the look of that. If it doesn't sound very good, then maybe I will get rid of it, because it is rather big. But if it sounds nice, I'm going to want to keep it. I do sort of want to keep it anyway. I really like it. Just look at it. It's fantastic, that is. And other than that little bit of damage to the wood on the back, this thing is in lovely condition. And these old receivers are hard to get hold of in lovely condition. They really are. When you get one that's in lovely condition, try and hang on to it. Because the more these things get posted about and eBayed and Facebooked and all that, and they get sold and posted about, the more of them get damaged, the more harder it's going to become to get ones in the condition of this one. So that's why if I get something really nice, I do want to try and hold on to it, because ones in really good condition, they are getting rare now, because most of them have been knocked about a bit. but like the faceplate and all them buttons and switches on the front of this Optonica, they look in excellent condition. So I do want to keep this Optonica, so I'll have to have a word with my missus and be very nice to her and see if we can find a home for it somewhere. Well, as long as I can sort it out and get it working. So thank you for watching, and I shall see you next time.